In the Qing dynasty, there lived a Hakka Chinese man by the name of
Hong Xiuqian.
Hakka, being an ethnic group within China composed mostly of peasants. Hong was having a particularly bad time after failing his imperial examinations for the fourth time, by being in constant delirium and having emotional breakdowns in his bed. Wait, that sounds familiar. Please don't do anything wrong, Mr. Hong. He goes on to do some wrong things. He is said to have a fever dream of visiting heaven, in which he discovered he had his own celestial family, distinct from his earthly family. His heavenly father supposed that men were worshipping demons rather than himself, and presented Hong with a sword to slay the demons infesting heaven. Hong was literally playing Doom Eternal in real life. Back on Earth, Hong was introduced to Christian literature distributed by early Protestant missionaries, and reinforced his beliefs that the paternal figure, God, was his father, and his brother was Jesus. You know what? I can't really tell them apart, so I gotta give it to him. I gotta believe him. Along with believing his relation to God himself, Hong avidly preached against the increasingly unpopular Qin dynasty, led by the Manchu minority group in which he was already not fond of. The Qin left millions poor, unemployed, famine-stricken, and on top of that, they were being humiliated on the daily by foreign powers, aiding in growing anti-Manchu sentiments. Hong met up with a fellow follower, Feng Yongshan, in which they started the God Club, or otherwise known as the God-worshipping Society. Sounds like a crazy college cult that is really just a drinking club, like gathering your favorite alcoholics for a wild night out, but this time, the wild night out was one of the deadliest wars in human history. The movement first grew by suppressing groups of bandits and pirates in southern China, in which they were initially punished by the Qin dynasty, but Hong and his boys started a period of guerrilla warfare against the Qin that slowly evolved into a full-blown civil war. Hong begins by taking the territory of Guangxi, seizing all property and calling it the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, otherwise known as the Heavenly Kingdom of Peace, of which he also declared himself the Heavenly King. Within the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, there were three main leaders: Hong himself, who was, the Heavenly King, his brother Zhao, who could supposedly talk the celestial language as a representative of Jesus Christ, and his commander Yang, who could also speak as God as his representative. In 1853, Hong was found in Nanjing's backyard, calling it the heavenly capital of his kingdom after taking it under his control. Since the Taipings and the Manchus were ops, they considered Manchus as demons, and they did the Chinese tradition of burning them to death. Shortly after, the Taiping aimed to expand their territory from Nanjing to ease the pressure on their capital through a northern and western campaign, in which one was a complete failure and the other was just as ineffective. In late 1853, Hong withdrew from active control of his heavenly kingdom to pursue more heavenly matters, involving living in luxury with his hundreds of concubines. You go, Hong. Hong was suspicious of his representative for God, Yang, for organizing a coup against him, in which Yang and his followers found themselves quickly being dealt with by Hong's troops. What happened, you asked? You don't really want to ask. Meanwhile, ironically, within the Qin, many foreign powers who were just whooping China lent their hand in dealing with the rebellious Taipings, including the likes of Frederick Townsend Ward and Charles the Chinese Gordon. What does that even mean? This coalition, which would later be called as the ever-victorious army, pretty sure this is like their first and only victory, marched onto the heavenly capital after having most of Taiping-controlled territory under their occupation. The ever-victorious army entered the city in 1864 to find a dead Hong within the capital. Many months ago, Hong declared that God would defend the city, in which God, in fact, did not defend the city, and there was a large food shortage that found Hong contracting food poisoning from eating wild vegetables in June 1864. On August 1st, Hong's body was cremated and its ashes were fired from a cannon as a sort of imperial light show to scatter them irretrievably. The Taiping Massacre was one of the most deadly wars in human history due to the typical imperial Chinese methods of quelling rebellions and dealing with those you weren't quite fond of. Despite the immense brutality of this war, two groups in particular found the efforts of Hong admirable and drew their origins from the Taipings. These were the likes of the Chinese nationalists and the Chinese communists. They'll sort everything out calmly, right? Right?